It's time to talk LSU baseball with Mike Scarborough and Kendall Rogers of D1 Baseball. This is Batter Up.
All right, SEC tournament time. LSU fans been sitting around all week while the whole rest of the league has been playing all week long. And, of course, it's LSU versus Texas A&M. I noticed that Kendall Rogers, who's in the house with us as always, D1 Baseball with a new field projection that they put out this morning.
Yep.
And, of course, it's LSU and the Aggies again at 6:30 tonight. We'll see if they get uncorked on time. But welcome in, Kendall, and your thoughts on the SEC tournament thus far, and do the Aggies have enough pitching to go up against Cade Anderson tonight?
It's been really interesting watching the SEC tournament. You know, it's funny you mentioned LSU fans kind of sitting around all week. I think it was like Tuesday morning in the first game, they like showed a group of LSU fans tailgating. I'm sitting there thinking like, man, that's a long-ass week of drinking bourbon and whatnot in the parking lot. So I'm sure whoever is out there tailgating the entire week is probably really, really happy there was finally an LSU game. But, you know, I think for LSU, I expect Jay Johnson to come out here today and want to win this game. I think anytime you sit around as long as you did, you want to come out and be on point. I don't think this game means anything in terms of, honestly, probably even their seeding. They're a lock as a top 8. So this game really means nothing, but it's about creating kind of the standard for the postseason. You don't want to come out against a team like A&M who you're going to get their best, even without Lavalette and Caden Sorrell, you're going to get their best shot. Their season is over if they lose. So I think if you're Jay, you're wanting to make sure, hey, are we – the little things are we covering second base on double plays on point? Are we hustling? Are we, is the catcher position looking good? Are we throwing strikes? Are we staying in the zone? So I think it's more so about LSU being LSU tonight than it is A&M, because I do think A&M is vastly overmatched. I mean, without its top 3 hitters really, because Grohovic's been out all year, so they don't have their top 3 hitters. Miles Patton, is getting the start for A&M. He's a guy that against LSU earlier this year had a little success. He's able to pound the zone. He's able to stay low in the zone. I think if there's one thing with this LSU team that I would like to see tonight and the rest of the weekend going into regionals, is just the offense to be a little bit more consistent. There's been some times over the last couple of weeks where certainly the offense has been really good. But there's also been some times over the last few weeks where the offense hasn't been very good. So I think LSU, again, it's about creating the kind of the offensive expectation for this team going into the NCAA tournament. And again, I expect them to be laser focused. I was talking to Jay earlier this week about a few other things, and he just said, like, hey, we're treating Cade Anderson's start like this is a Friday night in the SEC. Like, we're not going to go out there and go, hey, we're only going to give you 55 pitches. Like, I'm not saying that he's like, I'm not going to throw him 120, but I'm also not going to go out there and give him a bullpen session. Like, this is a start for Cade Anderson, and I expect the team to kind of play that way.
Well, look, and that's where there is it sets up well for LSU. But
yeah,
I imagine Jay would have liked to have something that he could have done earlier in the week. But yeah, I'm looking at the way this thing's setting up, and look, you say it doesn't mean anything, but I'm going to challenge you a little bit, because early in the week y'all had LSU as a 7, y'all had Auburn and Georgia ahead of LSU. Is it their losses that have you now jumping them and being a 5th?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think the biggest.
Is that the log about why LSU jumped them? And if LSU loses tonight, it one and done. Is it back to a coin toss between who's the 5th, 6th, and 7 amongst those 3 teams?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this. I think if you're an LSU fan, any order that the committee seeds all of those SEC teams outside of Texas, there's really not a wrong answer. I mean, if you look at all those teams, Auburn, I mean, I know it's ancient history, but Auburn swept LSU in Auburn. LSU took 2 out of 3 from Arkansas. And LSU did not play Georgia. LSU did not play Georgia, but Georgia swept Auburn. So, like, every single one of these teams all beat each other. And so I don't think there's a wrong answer there.
Was Georgia Auburn? Was Georgia Auburn in Athens?
It was in Athens. So, like, all these teams when they won those series was on the road for the other team. And so I don't think there's a wrong answer how you see them. We seeded them today personally based on how we view those teams. Like, I just think LSU is better than Georgia. I just think LSU is better than Auburn right now. And that's kind of why we seeded them where we seeded
Well, let me
them.
ask you this. Then that's kind of been like everybody's asking me all week long. How can LSU be number one? And at one point, of course, I asked you about the graphic last week at LSU. Is a 9, then a 7. And I'm like, well, it's got to be the RPI factor. But if across the board, you and all your competitors all had LSU number one.
It's a great point. Yeah.
What is the committee looking at?
I know the committee, full transparency, I know the committee's looking at how we rank teams, but I also know the committee, sits heavily on the RPI. So, J.R. Teagues, which is really interesting, is a Louisiana guy. And who's to say that Jay doesn't just buck the trend of going RPI, and go, hey, if Kendall and, Fit think that A&M is number one, Baseball America thinks LSU is number one. Let's say A&M or LSU. LSU is number one. And, the coaches think they're number one. Who gives a damn if Texas won the league by 2 games? They all think LSU's better. So that would be the one thing that I could see where LSU could be a 1 or 2 is if JRT's, who has seen LSU plenty of times this year, just goes, hey, let's go off of the way again, I'm calling myself an expert. I'm not sitting there pumping myself. I'm just saying from his standpoint, he may go, hey, if all the experts have the number one, why wouldn't we have the number one?
Okay, let me ask you this. LSU, I have LSU getting to Sunday. Now, whether they win it or not, but I just think they're going to get to Sunday. But let's say they do that. What, in your mind, whether they get to Sunday or win it all, what's the highest seed that you think LSU can get? Can they get to a 4?
I think they can get higher than that. I think, honestly, if they won today and tomorrow, I think they could easily be a 2 or 3. I don't think they'll be a 1. I do think head-to-head has to matter. And I think if you look at Texas, and again, people are going to go, well, they got swept by Arkansas. But, they also finished two games ahead of Arkansas in the conference standings. I think given that LSU did lose a series to Texas, and Texas did win that league by, 3 games ahead of LSU in the standings, I just think Texas has to be the 1. But, would I have an issue if LSU's a 2? Absolutely not.
Okay.
Not at all.
What's it going to take for A&M to win this game tonight? And we had talked, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I said, how many SEC teams are in? You said 12. Is that where you're at? Or which teams are out? Definitely out. And
yeah, I think A&M, South Carolina, Missouri, they're the only teams that are out. I still tend to believe A&M has to get to Sunday to get in. I'd say they dug themselves such a hole against Missouri. What's so crazy about that team is if you win that Missouri series, you go into Hoover, there's even a question whether you're in the tournament. You're in. So there's going to be a lot of urgency for them. I will say this, and I honestly was talking to Jay about this the other day, is the one thing that I would be weary of with A&M tonight is they have nothing to lose. And it sounds weird because they're fighting for their lives, but they have nothing to lose. People don't expect them to make the postseason, so they have nothing to lose. And without Lavalette, they're going to have to do things a little differently. So I think the big key for LSU is going to be the corner positions in the infield. You're going to have to be ready because I guarantee you A&M is going to have situations to, you even saw it yesterday against Auburn at times. You had their first baseman, Gavin Cash, trying to bunt. I think A&M is going to get really creative and try a lot of different ways to get on base. And it's going to be imperative that the LSU infield is ready for those things.
All right. Well, let's hear from Kenny. And, of course, he sponsors these batter up segments each and every week. All right, Kenny, let's go.
Kenny Haines is a proud 1989 graduate of LSU Law School with a passion for justice. Kenny stands out as the only lawyer in the state, board certified in both appellate practice and family law. Drawing from 34 years of trial experience, Kenny has navigated the most complex aspects of real people's lives. If you need help in Northwest Louisiana with a family issue, legal issue, or a highly skilled trial attorney, call Kenny 318-222-2100.
Of course, Kenny's the official and unofficial attorney of TigerBait.com. We appreciate him sponsoring these each and every week during baseball season. I was I opened the press conference with Jay on Tuesday, and I'm like, okay, well, the fact that we're getting them on Tuesday means they're leaving Wednesday. And I kind of thought that was kind of early. When you're not playing till 6:30 on Friday, why did you need to go that many days? You could have went up late yesterday. But the SEC tournament, what you've seen so far, single elimination, any clapback or any buzz about whether this format's here to stay, or do you think they revert back? Is it a winner?
By the way, I do have to bring this up because Jay was telling me that they were busing back from Hoover.
They bust
on Sunday. Woody, man, you got to get them a charter. Let's go. You got selection day Monday morning, and these guys can win the SEC championship or tournament championship and bus home. Let's go, guys.
Kendall, they bust to Frisco early in the season.
Come on, we need like the Tiger Bait Express. You can just fund all their flights, man. Come on,
man. Football players need NIL dollars, Kendall. Baseball gets to ride the Greyhound.
Yeah, exactly. Back to the topic. I just had to bring that up because I was like shocked. I was like, wait, you're busing home after the game on Sunday if you play?
Well, I'm sure you got a reaction you can't share because I think that's probably a sore subject with Jay.
Comment. But with the tournament, I will say this about the SEC tournament. I was very concerned that the crowds would be down. I thought with single elimination, like who's going to go all the way to Hoover and just watch their team play one game potentially? And to Hoover's credit, the crowds have honestly been really good. I mean, I think the Texas-Tennessee game was packed last night. I would imagine the LSU fans will pack that place tonight. Ole Miss fans have shown up. So that the attendance has been really
All
good.
Fans will certainly be there.
Oh, especially tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is the city of Hoover continues to put money into it. I think they do a really good marketing job with it. And, it's been really good. It's been honestly shocking.
The all-SEC teams were released earlier this week. I know y'all probably do your own, but anything that shocked you? I know a lot of people here thought Curiel got robbed. Any thoughts on it? Did you get a chance to pick it apart?
Yeah, I actually, for player of the year, I honestly leaned Ike Irish a little bit. I think, I love Fahiva Loy, but Ike Irish for me is the best hitter in that league. And I think anytime he steps in the box, I think you kind of put everything down and you want to watch him hit. That was the only thing that kind of stood out to me. Curiel certainly would have a pretty good case there. I'm just kind of going through the team just to make sure. For
freshman of the year, I mean, is it just that maybe he
it's just Volantis. I mean, I think so here's how I'll view these awards. Number one, I have no issue with Curiel being that award winner. But I look at teams and go, okay, if you took that freshman off that team, what's the result? I would argue if you took Derek Curiel off LSU's team, LSU's still pretty good. I would argue if Texas doesn't have Dylan Volantis, its entire season is a much different story. Like, that's how important he has been at the back end. So I don't have an issue with Volantis. I think it's really close, but I don't have an issue with Volantis at all. I would say in terms of anything else, I mean, don't have an issue with the starting pitchers. Yeah, I just kind of go through the team to make sure I'm not forgetting something. And then second base, you could probably make a pretty good argument for Danny there. But I mean, it's hard to go against Gavin Keelan.
Well, it's like Jay said the other day,
Keelan,
between
he
him
missed like
and
20 games.
And Milam only having 3 errors all season long. If Milam would have been, been in the batter's box like he was as a freshman with the way he's played at short, he would have been at least second team.
Yeah, I mean, on the same token, what's been really impressive about Steven is the fact that a lot of players, whenever they struggle like that offensively, that tends to permeate into their defense. And to his credit, that has not happened. Like, even though he's not been great offensively, he has still been brilliant defensively. So that's a testament to him as a player because,
man, if he ever snaps out of it, I don't know if it's this weekend or
postseason, maybe, man.
Maybe
it's the postseason for him.
That just boosts everything.
There's
particularly where he's at in the lineup.
Yeah, any team that goes on any kind of run that gets to Omaha in the postseason, there's always someone that we do not expect that just comes out of nowhere and gets hot. Milam might be that guy.
All right, so I know this is going to be a busy time for you. We get media show up at the Alex Box. I'll be there at 11 a.m. Monday morning for that. And of course, they released the host site Sunday, right? But you get the full smear at 11 a.m. Central on Monday. But this is your time of year, man. This is your Super Bowl.
It really is. It's been a really long week, but it's been a lot of fun. And by the way, I do know that you'll be very excited that when LSU hosts a regional and there's rain in the area, that Jay is not in charge. It's the NCAA.
Yeah.
No.
So 9:50 p.m. first pitch. Yeah.
So yeah, looking forward to it. I'll either be in Austin or Baton Rouge next weekend, and I'll be in either Austin or Baton Rouge for Super Regional. It all just kind of depends on matchups.
And how do you decide that? Who gets sent there? Who has the best two?
Usually, yeah, it's usually just who has the most competitive regional. I have a reason to believe that Texas, if they're the number one overall national seed, will not have a great regional, but you never know. So the committee always surprises us with something.
Which mid majors are the give me 2 or 3 mid majors that have a strong chance to get to Omaha, or is there only one?
Yeah, Coastal, Southern Miss. Both those teams can really pitch. I mean, Southern Miss has JB Middleton as their Friday guy. I mean, he's as good as anybody in the country. He's going to be a first-round pick. He's got a lot of buzz right now. Those two teams pitch. They can really hit. UTSA is interesting. I just mentioned the Austin Regional. I bet they go to the Austin Regional. They're dangerous. I mean, Pat Hallmark, who's one of Wayne Graham's assistants at Rice, he's done an amazing job there. And I mean, they are a doubles machine. So those are the 3 kind of mid-majors off the top of my head.
I know the Ole Miss people think that somehow they're going to be hosts. Y'all, no matter what's happened this week, y'all do not have Oxford getting one.
Well, right now, I mean, so here's the problem for Ole Miss is Tennessee is going to probably end up having more overall SEC wins than them. They've got the head-to-head in Oxford, and the metrics are pretty comparable. So all those equal. I kind of like Tennessee in that.
And when I've seen all your brackets, it seems like it's been consistent. You've had Ole Miss going to Southern Miss.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: just knowing the committee members and talking to a lot of those guys, like I'm kind of the person who's like, hey, quit sending the same teams, the same damn regionals, but it never fails. Like if they feel like they can get a packed here, the thing you got to remember with this is like at the end of the day, it's doing the pairings, but it's also making money. And guess what? If you have Ole Miss and Southern Miss playing at the same regional, you're going to sell out almost every game because those teams are involved. So
all right,
that's that answer.
Well, great stuff is always, Kendall, man. I enjoy the weekend and tell them how to get all. Look, y'all have got Etheridge in Hoover. You're going to be manning the fort with all your screens but tell everybody about the content and the 30% off code.
Yeah, Omaha 30 gets you 30% off. We've got 9 different conference tournaments covered by people on site. Obviously, we've got Joe Healy and Mark Etheridge in Hoover. Then we'll have transfer tracker and a lot of coaching scoop in the offseason. There's one player in particular that is very good that I continue to hear a lot of really good things that LSU will probably end up landing him here in a few weeks. So more on that later.
All right. And so, and Healy will be doing his waypoints all weekend long live on y'all's D1 Baseball YouTube channel.
Correct.
Check that out. So, all right, Kendall, we'll talk next week, bud.
Thanks, bud. See ya.
Thanks, man. All right. Bye.